Oh my God, Ryan, they did it. They
What did they
got
do?
him. Osama, he's gone.
You have you been sitting on that? Was that just like a pickup?
I literally just popped in my head. I was gonna make a 9/11 joke, but you know what? Let's go a different route. They got him.
I cannot, I cannot believe I told you to do the intro for this and you just picked that shit up.
5 seconds into the video, folks. 2011, GOTYcast. Let's
Yeah.
do this thing.
Osama bin Laden got
Yeah, he did. Um,
USA, USA.
so we have a small conundrum in this case, boys and girls and non-binaries.
Yes.
Uh, we both of our runner-ups are each of each other's games of the year.
Hmm.
So my game of the year is his runner-up, and then my runner-up is Brian's game of the year
You
here.
know, every year we've been going on and we've had fun little connections and fun this and this. This is the first time where it's like it literally is just the opposite. It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
and it's not a year where like either of us have like a second runner-up at all. Um, I don't know if I were to throw one out, fucking Skyrim, I guess. Fucking Skyrim's cool.
It was a game that I guess was popular.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned Bethesda before at all.
Nope. But okay, let's get into it.
All right, my game of the year.
Game breaking three times. Three times.
Three-time
This is
studio.
how elite this company is.
Yep, I know, right? And
And I'll make the joke. I'll make the joke once you say it, though, because I have a really good joke.
oh, what? That we could do three, but Valve can't?
Well, I was gonna say every game we have is two, and then your other one was Left 4 Dead 2, and then we said this is the third time. That's the closest Valve has been to a three in their
They've
life.
all been, they've all been twos as well. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why I thought it was just so funny. Will we ever get a third of any of that? Nope.
Nope, the closest. Everyone, listen up. It's Portal
Hell
2.
yes.
Portal 2. Okay, listen. Portal 2, in my personal opinion, I don't know, Brian can probably interject and see where I'm coming from with this. I believe is the best puzzle game of all time. Um, Not because the puzzles are like super challenging or anything like that. Not because, the mechanics are all like all wonky and different from the first one. You got that, and you also have a fun plot revolving around robots and laboratories and you know corporate greed, baby.
It's literally the equivalent of Rockstar doing a table tennis game. When you take a company that is so fucking elite and then you're like, do this kind of game, it's like literally Valve doing a puzzle game is like, holy shit. Like, it's so tight. Again, Half-Life 2, tight. Left 4 Dead 2, tight. Portal 2, tight. They're just known for that shit. And it's again, Rockstar doing table tennis is so funny, but you look at it and you're like, that's a pretty damn good game. Because when you have people who are so good and they're like, we're going to just do this game real quick, it's awesome.
Yeah. And it's not even like it was a throwaway like type of game either.
No,
Because like again, they worked on the first one and it was just a small little thing they did. They were like, here, it's called Portal. You shoot portals and walk through them, and
and
at the end,
yeah,
big robot.
it became one of the most legendary plot twists ending things ever. Like this game was the thing after.
And then of course their way to tease Portal 2 was they put out an update up for Portal, changing the ending. And they said, oh
Mhm.
hey, is there more to come? And then there was. And then we're like, ooh, is GLaDOS back? She showed up. But you don't get the GLaDOS right away, of course. You get to meet our boy Wheatley first, and you're like, oh, this guy's funny. He's British. We love British people. Ooh,
Who before Stephen Merchant? Wasn't that a different voice actor? Wasn't that?
it was supposed to be someone different. Yeah,
Yeah, and I don't remember if it was like someone famous or if it was just a different voice, and then they hired Stephen Merchant because he's a name. But I remember that too.
yeah. Um, I don't remember. Whatever. Stephen Merchant's fantastic in this game. Um, of course, GLaDOS is always a standout. You know, this game's not super long. There's probably where the first game was only 2 hours. This probably quadruples it. It's around an 8 hour game, I want to say, maybe 10 hours. If you take your sweet, sweet time with it, if you try to come up with some fucking crazy techniques to solve a puzzle in 2 seconds, which, I mean, hey, Portal experts out there, shout out to you guys for real.
Hmm.
Uh, but you spend, you know, a majority learning about the corporation of Aperture and like what's going on, basically from the undergrounds. Um, through the legend himself, Cape Johnson.
Who I don't know if anyone know this for you Gen Zers, this is what he won his Oscar for. Don't ask
Yeah,
me. Don't. It's a video game. It's okay. They said we're
they,
gonna give JK his Oscar just for a video game. It's okay.
there for the longest time. I had I had a shirt from Portal 2, and it was the exploding lemons because
Oh yes, I remember that.
when life gives you lemons, you take life's lemons and throw it back at them. He just does some crazy shit. I don't know the details because there hasn't Valve doesn't really go too much in detail behind their games.
Yeah.
There's some game developers where they're like, okay, here's the director's commentary they'll add into the game where like you'll play the game and then you'll stop to like hear it. I don't believe I could be wrong again that Portal 2 doesn't have one of those, but I would just love to hear and sit in on what the fuck was going on in the
It's
direction of
it's
that game.
frustrating because that's Christopher Nolan. He doesn't do director's commentaries. He's one of those you just experience my movie and you let it's the magic. Like that's part of it. It's like just let the magic take over you. You don't need to know all the secrets.
Some of these puzzles, you're just like, oh my god, it's so interesting and cool. Starting back up and learning how the portal gun works again, figuring out. But then they're like, okay, here's your light bridges. Work with that. It's not just about getting a cube anymore. And then once you get underground, of course, and hanging out with Miss Potato, here you go. Here's a bunch of goo. Here's a
Hmm.
bunch of goo. The goo was such a fun new mechanic to bring onto this game.
Yes.
Whether super fast, well, it was bouncy, bouncy. Whether it was just getting rid of the goo and then mixing up the goo as well, so you get like a nice fast head start, and then you would jump to launch yourself, and then land on the orange goo to bounce, and you were like, "Here we go!"
And
Crazy.
one of the best game engines too of all time, the Source engine, and seeing the way that it lays so like realistically, it's like the physics and the textures are like so good.
It it's very interesting, yeah, watching all those textures come in. Um, I like the plot twist in this game. Very middle on was very fun to deal with. That of like towards the end of the first game, there's the plot twist, but there wasn't really much of a plot to go with. Whereas this game, there was the nice continuous plot. You're like, okay, I
Yeah.
get this. Um, and then coming into the ending of the game and the last portal that you do, and then you're trying to figure it out, and then the ending happens, and you're like, what the fuck? That was so stupid. I love it. And the introduction of the other little cubes or uh, I guess they're not cubes. They're little ball guys. The
Oh,
space
so
one.
funny.
We love space.
Nolan North, shout out again.
Hmm. Um, but one other thing that Portal 2 brought to the table, which me and Brian love near and dear, was they brought co-op to the game.
And it wasn't just a goofy little like it was story. It was woven into the game. It was happening while the game was happening or before, like vice versa, whatever. But like it happens. It's like a whole new campaign.
It's a whole new campaign. You get your two boys, which again I don't remember their names, but they do have names.
I think
I
it's
believe.
Peabody and
Oh,
something else.
it's not Peabody and Sherman. That's a
No.
series.
Portal to co-op characters. Hold on. I'll look it up real quick. This could stay in Atlas and Peabody.
Atlas and Peabody. I believe I played Atlas and you were more Peabody.
Yeah, Atlas was this guy, and Peabody was the small chunky guy.
Yeah, I was like, I'm Atlas, and you're just like, I'm
Yeah,
Peabody.
yeah, yeah.
Of course, working together, figuring out different commotions to get through the puzzles together, arguing, of course, being like, no, your
Oh yeah,
portal's in.
all the taunting and all of the little emotes you could do was so
Yeah,
funny.
just emote to the cameras and be like, fuck you, GLaDOS. And GLaDOS would be like, okay, but why? And of course you're just grabbing a fucking disc. You're like, damn, GLaDOS has got to got your pirated Blu-rays over here, and then
Mm-hmm.
blows. And they brought in DLC as well. It was free DLC, which I found awesome from Valve. Added a little bit more context to the plot. Not really context, but added a little side plot as well, which tied back into a goofy little thing from the game. It was a pretty silly ending for that DLC. Um, but overall, I'm not a puzzle game type of guy. Like I like a good like puzzle game from time to time. Tetris, hell yeah, great time. Stacking some blocks. Peggle, fun. Keep your mind clear. Just blast some music while dropping some balls. But like this is the one type of puzzle game, and I think it because it just it's a puzzle game and it's not a puzzle game at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
There's much more to it, but the puzzles are so strong in the game that that's what sticks out most in my mind at the end of the day. Of course,
Yeah.
the plot is really strong. The characters excellent. The actual mechanics of how the gameplay works, but use it when you were stuck in a puzzle and you're just like going around. You're like, what am I supposed to do? And then you have that moment where you figure it out and you actually feel accomplished is like one of the best things ever. And Portal 2
Mm-hmm.
has that. Yeah, there's some tricky puzzles that you can't figure out. Maylene is here. There's the Maylene cameo of the video. You like Portal? I've actually never played Portal in front of you. Maybe one day. Oh, oh, okay. She just had a technique right there. That she was figuring out her own puzzle.
Exactly. I was gonna say, going off of your point though, the I agree because the game itself, it's the thing about puzzle games is it'll give you all the things you need, and then it's like you kind of have to figure it out. And I think the best part of Portal 2 is it never feels like you're like, holy shit, what am I supposed to do? And then you figure it out and you're like, really? Like they didn't tell me. Like they give you a good amount of time and a decent amount of puzzles for you to feel like you know everything to do. So when you do figure it out, it's not a oh, like really? It's more of a oh my fucking god, are you joking? Like of course.
Yeah, all the tools are presented in front of you. It's not like they're trying to throw in it. If there's a new mechanic, they tell you there's a new mechanic. And of course they're like, oh hey, well, it later on they brought back the things in earlier in the game of the older mechanics, but it's not like they're just saying, oh no, you obviously were supposed to do this over here. It was like, no, here's how it's set up, here's how
Yeah.
your direction is. That's how you do it. And that's how like the best puzzle games work when you have the tools in front of you and everything is set. You just have to use your brain. And I mean, again, that's why puzzle games like Peggle and Tetris aren't as effective for me. Again, I enjoy them, but they're just mind-numbing things as puzzle games because it's just like, again, Peggle. I have to do some thinking to like get all the pegs, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And Tetris, yes, I have to be focused and like chill, fill in the blocks with what I have. But this one, it's like, okay, let me try to experiment this way. Let me try to do this way, where it's something I can like take my time and figure it out.
Yeah. And even more so than my runner-up last year, Limbo, it's a story-driven puzzle game. It's not a you kind of know what's going on and you have to get a sense of like the work. It's straight up telling you what's going on. It just happens to have puzzles.
Mm-hmm. Yep, because I am a potato. Yeah, Portal 2, very strong. Thank you, Valve. We are so sad that this is the last one on our list from you
Yeah, because we
because
can't fucking afford a VR headset for a new
yeah,
Half-Life game, damn it.
yeah. But
Wait, Dota 2 is not going to be on any of our lists?
have you played Dota 2, Brian?
I don't even, that's a top down, right? It's like a
I
top down sort of thing. I don't know.
don't ask me. But there's a reason why Valve is one of our favorite companies, even though they don't release games.
Well, when Steam is your big money maker, I wouldn't want to make fucking games anymore.
I mean, it's the same case with Epic, I guess, because all they have is the Epic Game Store and Fortnite.
That is true. And I was gonna say with Valve, you know, I joke about Christopher Nolan, but I think it's more of a James Cameron thing too, of like we were hearing forever like Half-Life 3 wasn't a thing, then it wasn't a thing, and then it was becoming a thing, and then it wasn't a thing. And a lot of the conversations were about Source 2 and about VR. And it was like they only wanted to do something if it was like what the next thing was, and blah 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 blah. Yeah, that is my runner up,
Yeah, Brian, what's my
obviously. So what's yours? Well, okay, first off, let's just go through because we're still in
oh,
the golden age. We never brought that up, but we are in the golden age still because you know, USA distracted us. Um, so let's see. We got Crisis 2, Little Big Planet 2, Bastion. The first Homefront came out. Alice Madness Returns, I know, is a game that you really like.
mhm.
Terraria, Dragon Age 2, we brought that up. Uh, a game with the greatest trailer, but a game that really wasn't the greatest game ever, Dead Island. Um, Mortal Kombat came out, Assassin's Creed Revelations, Infamous 2, Modern Warfare 3, Battlefield 3, Dark Souls, Deus Ex Human Revolution, LA Noire, Skyrim, obviously, Portal 2, Saints Row the Third, Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception, Dead Space 2, Gears of War 3, Bulletstorm, which is a very underrated game. It's not worth $60, but it's a fun game and you should play it. Um, what else? Skyward Sword, Zelda Skyward Sword. And quite frankly, two of the most important games of all time. Duke Nukem Forever. And not even joking, this one's serious. Uh a little game that you might have heard of called um Get Out of My Room, Mom. I'm playing Minecraft. You know, just a
Not
little
the
game.
full title of it, but sure.
Yeah, just a little game. Obviously, none of these are my game of the year because we talked about this on the last episode. It's Batman Arkham City. I feel like every video I go, do I wait? Do I? No, it's Batman Arkham City. How many games do you know that when the first game comes out, they already have a fucking Easter egg for the second one, and nobody finds it until the second one gets fucking announced?
Uh, I mean, there's probably games now that do that, but not before that time.
That's true. Um, Batman Arkham City.
Ooh,
So I love the Arkham series.
me as well.
Arkham Asylum, I think is fantastic, but I think once you play Arkham City, it's a little outdated for certain traversal things. And then with Arkham Knight, I think Arkham Knight focused too much on the Batmobile stuff, but I think it's still genuinely great. I just think that stuff kind of They got too excited. They're like, Batmobile, Batmobile. A little too excited.
There's an argument to be had there, but
Yeah, but yeah. I don't think it's either of our game of the years for that year anyway. So, or runner up. So, or maybe runner up. But that game aside, this game was a fantastic Batman video game, fantastic Batman story, a fantastic video game. And it's something where this is one of the.
you just said this. You just said the Batman video game, fantastic Batman story, and a fantastic video game.
Well, no, what I mean is it's a fantastic just Batman game on its own. It's a fantastic game on its own, and it's a great story of Batman. I was trying to word it in a way where it was like, yes, it's weird and confusing, but I had a point. God damn it.
You have to be a Batman fan to enjoy it.
Exactly. But if you are, my oh me oh my. That's a callback.
That's a callback.
um it I just remember when the trailers for this, because it came out like the trailers came out immediately after the first one, and I was like,
First
whoa.
trailer. Like,
oh
crap, there's a
hold on.
sequel.
Hold on. We need to do let's just do a I'm actually kind of getting choked up right now about Kevin Conroy. I don't fucking care. I'm kind of emotional right now. Um that obviously Arkham Asylum kind of, we bring in Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy. God damn it. I was trying to be funny and now I'm getting all emotional. God damn it.
That back our crew from the animated series because we know how strong they are.
And
plus
their
Star Wars.
Here, say that again. Your audio kind of cut out.
And Star Wars isn't a thing yet.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Their chemistry is fucking bonkers, and it was so exciting to bring them in. But the story itself, I know really the first two Arkham games, the third one tried to kind of come back to this more normalish thing, but the first two are kind of goofy. I'll be honest. Yeah, they were comic booky. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of didn't care. I will say I think the end of the first game may be the worst case of it, but I don't think it's like terrible. It's just like, okay, this hasn't been done.
Really rough.
Well, and it's because of, this being a video game and the type of story you need to tell, and it's a game, like you have to play it, and them not really realizing what was going to happen after this, like we weren't expecting it to be fantastic.
I don't think any expecting anything after that.
Right. And so for this game to go into a semi-open world where it's very smart how they put it together, it's kind of it's like structured, like it's just a couple little mini maps that are tied together, and it has all the iconic landmarks, and
we live in Arkham City, which is a portion of Gotham that is like made distinctly for inmates to run around in,
which I think is fascinating. And again, I think this game out of all three of them feels like the most, like the first game, besides the ending, feels very like they kind of pick and choose. Final game, I think, is definitely like, it feels like this grand epic story, right? This game felt like this is like the only Batman story like this. Like this is Rocksteady being like, this is our Batman story, our unique full Batman story, and the way the characters meet. Catwoman becomes a playable character. You get the whole new opening with her, the tension between the two of them. When Batman, we get like more characters like Mr. Freeze, which I think finally made me go, fuck yes, Mr. Freeze is such a better character than people understand, especially the DLC and Batman Arkham Knight. Holy fucking shit.
I mean, Mr. Freeze's character was always very fascinating, but then of course
oh no, that was Bane. Boom. What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
Then that
My
happened.
favorite. That's the go-to. But we get obviously old characters coming back. We get Hugo Strange. We get the ghouls, Talia and Ra's al Ghul showing up.
No, they're in this game.
Yeah, just ghouls. They're spooky ghouls. Fucking Castle's wife is Talia al Ghul.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, from a gameplay perspective, I understand why some people think the combat's a little goofy, but honestly, like I I don't know. Like there's just something about it because it definitely. I will admit there is this weird disconnect of it being a really great game, but also like, is Batman really like this? I kind of don't fucking care because the moment I'm fighting people, I feel like I know it just becomes a little action like video game, and then it just goes back to the detective work and all your gadgets and you being able to fucking swan dive and fly back up.
Yeah.
Then
The,
Arkham Asylum is outdated. The moment you add that mechanic, oh, you don't want to play Arkham just going,
oh no, because it's such a struggle. Because you're just like, I can't glide. I can't like traverse
no.
on this whole thing. No. Meanwhile, City, you're like faster grapple hook.
Oh, that one trailer, this ain't no place for no hero. Watching you just zoop, whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm like, whoa, what is happening?
And then they said, "Oh, we have to make a prequel game. How do we like keep that, but also have to downplay it because he doesn't get technology until City." Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. That's hey. Again,
Fine.
another conversation. We talked about Fallout New Vegas, and that's that to you, that's a good example. Obviously, that might be not the greatest example, but anyways, continuity in video games is honestly, I think, one of the worst. I think the worst continuity in any art form. Like, it's terrible because, like, Halo is the same thing. You get all these new guns. It's like, well, why weren't these? Shh, shh, shh. But I love this game from a storytelling perspective. The twists and turns are fantastic. You know, you're reeling, Joker's dying, him mixing his blood with you, which is probably one of my favorite. Like, I'm so glad I had nothing to go off of and I'm playing Arkham Knight. I had no one spoil it for me. And when he shows up, I just went, what the
Oh!
like, it's genuinely, it is almost like it's up there with the idea of like Spider-Man Homecoming and Michael Keaton shows up at the door and you're just like, what? Like, yeah, there's some deep, like, great storytelling in these games. And this one I think is just that perfect mix of, it's a great game, it's a great Batman story. It definitely adds a lot of great new dynamics. I do feel like the story is the most focused and the most interesting. It gets a little grand, but it doesn't get too grand where you feel like it's like Arkham Knight, where it feels like kind of like this big epic finale. Like, it definitely has these places where you see Mr. Freeze. I mean, maybe besides Solomon Grundy, that might be the
Oh,
one example of like,
I mean,
okay,
Penguin owns Solomon Grundy under the Iceberg Lounge,
yeah. I think that's easily
Nolan
the,
North,
yeah,
Nolan North.
as the Penguin. Um, I would say that's easily the only like, but I can forgive it because it's, I think,
Oh, we also got the introduction of Eminem.
oh yeah, Tim Drake, who they made look like Eminem. That was pretty funny. Troy Baker as Two-Face. Two-Face shows up.
Yeah, Troy Baker's.
Um,
Yeah.
fuck, man. Like, this game, I still would say in terms of Batman stories, this one, and obviously my favorite movie of all time, The Dark Knight, I'd say those are still there. I think this might be my third though, because I think this is definitely the best out of the three of them. And again, these are games that were coming out that were revolutionary for comic book games or like adaptation games. And then normal people took what they did and said, "Oh, we can use that in normal games." So like, these were big for just games in general.
Mhm.
Um and it was awesome. And again, when we talk about, I think this one might be one of the sadder ones when we talk about companies that we look at and we go, uh, this one is
Uh,
definitely, I think, one of the, because I think with my personal stake in it, with loving this game, um, and then just seeing how they're basically just being controlled by Warner Brothers to fucking make a live
I mean,
service game.
it was your game of the year, which means you clearly own the game of the year cover of.
Here we go. It's slowly fading into the shot right now, as you can
Oh,
all see.
I can't see
Oh, there's
fucking.
so much text everywhere. Ah,
Can't even see Batman. There's so much text.
one of probably I think easily again we talk about what could be the worst thing about this. I think that's probably the worst part of the game is this fucking game of the year cover. Oh, one of my favorite openings and one of my favorite endings to a game around that time too. Not the Catwoman opening, but the actual opening with Bruce Wayne and
Yeah,
the ending. Fantastic.
yeah. That was a good twist. It was a very good twist because you didn't even think about that could be an option, and then you're like, I mean, it makes sense.
It's the painting. It was the painting.
It was the painting.
I was
Oh,
shocked when it happened too.
can we not forget like some of the side missions we done as well? Come
Oh,
on,
like Mad Hatter.
like
That was
that,
fun.
that was a fun one. Who could
Bane
forget?
was goofy.
Bane was weird. Hey, can you find these Venom tanks?
And then you fight with him, and then he goes, I'm gonna get, oh no, you for it. Like that felt like an old Adam West episode. Like, oh, you stop me, Batman.
Oh, you sneaky, sneaky. But then also, freaking Hush,
Well, last year was all about the RPG, and this year was
the sequels.
about the sequels. What was your game of the year again? Oh yes. That wasn't a bit. I swear to fucking God, I'm just so stupid. Oh
Uh,
boy.
his brain was all the math going out. We started math out last
Oh
video.
it was that lady, like, that was me. Like, comments to Scrib. I'm a hot
Please,
mess. Check
what
out
was your
every other year
what was
because
your on the 10th anniversary of 9/11? Let us know in the comments down below.
you just
There it
couldn't.
is.
You just couldn't. You just couldn't let it go. I will say, now, obviously, he may disagree in terms of specifics, but we sadly, maybe not in the next episode, but we're kind of, it's going to start to wane down a little bit very soon.
Uh,
So,
Not, but the year after, and then the year after that, and the year after that, the year after that. Yeah,
oh yeah, it's gonna start to wane a little bit. So,
but are gonna have some fun ones coming up though.
well, yeah, because we still need to get to your favorite game of all time.
At least that's still up there. Yeah, where is
Yes,
it?
it's still.
Where is it?
Where's it? Where's it? So,
Yeah, but are coming up to games that we both agree on.
that is true. Maybe I'll change it last second so you look like an idiot.
Yeah,
Toodaloo.
motherfucker.
Okay, now say Toodaloo.
Oodle 2.